It might seem a bit strange to you if you know, currently, some tours and tourist trips are designed to see old and scary places. These tours, which are very popular and exciting today, do not have special conditions. And you can travel with them and experience a full-fledged adventure just because you are interested in seeing such places. If you are also interested in this type of trip, it's better to accompany us until the end of this article to get to know some of the scariest places in the world. Get to know some examples of the most scary, strange and mysterious places in the world. The world is full of scary places or mysterious places that many people are interested in exploring. The Amazon forest is the largest forest on Earth, which covers 13 square kilometers and covers parts of 9 countries. Brazil, Bolivia, Colombia, Ecuador, Guyana, French Guiana, Peru, Suriname and Venezuela. Scientists estimate that this forest has more than 2.5 million species of insects, more than 40,000 species of trees and plants, 1,500 species of birds and more than 2,000 species of fish. In addition to flora and fauna, the Amazon has indigenous tribes and people who live in remote areas and have never seen anyone but their own tribe. Some of these native people are cannibals and will kill and eat any explorer who approaches them. A little sunlight can pass through the leaves and trees of this forest. The forest floor is so dark that even during the day you have to walk through it with a flashlight to see. Many animals, such as monkeys and snakes, climb trees to reach the sunlight and get warm, and then come down to the ground to find food. The Amazon forest is a very interesting place full of extraordinary things, some of which we mention. Native tribes. More than 10 tribes of small human groups live in remote parts of the Amazon forest. Some of them are kind and curious towards strangers and explorers who travel to their habitats. They exchange what they have, such as animal skins, handmade bows and arrows, for the explorers' practical tools, such as knives and cooking utensils. Other tribes are very wild and dangerous. Many explorers disappeared on their adventures and were never found. No one knows what happened to them. Unfortunately, those who travel to areas of the Amazon that are full of dangerous natives do not even know they are being hunted until they are attacked. These natives are skilled hunters who move slowly. The City of Giants. This lost city was discovered in 2012 in the Amazon jungle of Ecuador. The central point of the city is a huge pyramid that is 78 meters high. Because everything in this city is on a large scale, they named it the City of Giants. Not only the dimensions of the buildings, but also the size of the hand tools are very large. These tools were so large that it was impossible for an ordinary human to be able to use them. In addition, the stones that were used to build the city were huge and the mineral that was extracted from it was very far away. Researchers who have studied this site believe that those who built this city between 3.6 to 4. They were 8 meters. They also had special types of technology that allowed them to bring the stones from such a distance and cut them with laser precision. Archaeologists say that just like the mystery of the ancient Egyptian pyramids, there was no known technology to reach such a city at that time. Cannibals. According to CNN, in 2009, members of the Colina tribe in Brazil trapped, killed, butchered and ate a young man in the forest. This victim was only 19 years old. This forest area is located in the west of Brazil and on the border of Peru. The Colina tribe sometimes encounter the people of Anvira village when they exchange the things they need. They come to the village for a short time and then return to the forest. The police learned about the killing when the tribesmen were talking to the residents of another village about eating the organs of a young man. The family of this young boy went to the place where the Colina tribe lives in the forest. They were horrified to see his dismembered body and skull hanging from a tree. Brazilian law does not allow police to enter indigenous lands, so no one was arrested in the murder. Forest balls. These stones are a real mystery. There are hundreds of such stones in the Amazon jungle. They are prehistoric. Archaeologists have not been able to understand why and how they were built. These orbs are protected. Some of these stones have a diameter of 2.5 meters. Rocks are formed from sources that are far away from where they were found. This means that early humans, who are thought to have had only very primitive tools, made these perfectly spherical stones. They have been pushed for kilometers, taken up hills, crossed rivers and dense forests and brought to this point. Some believe these stones were built for religious purposes, however there are no real witnesses to support this claim. Their origin and purpose remain a mystery until someone finds something in the archaeological record that explains it. A snake that is more than 9 meters long. In 1922, a Catholic priest named Father Victor Hinz went to the Amazon River in a remote part of Brazil in the Para region. He reported seeing a snake that was over 2.5 meters long. 7 years later, when the priest went to the same area again, he saw the snake again. The second time the snake was swimming in the water and its eyes were so big that at first he mistook them for the lights of the boat. Boas that are 3 to 9 meters long are common in the Amazon rainforest. Of course, there are bigger snakes. Unseen Amazonians. Many indigenous tribal people live in areas that have no connection with the rest of the world. Their lives are based on a connection with nature that people in the modern world will probably never understand. Amazon is a rich region as well as 6 earths. All trees and plants produce oxygen and clean the air of carbon dioxide, which is the source of climate change. This is one of the main reasons for the need to save the Amazon rainforest. Many useful medicines have been discovered from the plants and resources of this forest. For example, aspirin, which is the most common pain reliever in the world, is made from a chemical that is extracted from the bark of a tree. There are thousands of potentially useful drugs yet to be discovered. Only 1% of plant and tree species have been fully catalogued and evaluated. A small percentage of them have been tested in terms of therapeutic properties. Amazon is truly one of the treasures of the world that we all should appreciate. Spider web. There is an amazing little spider in the Amazon jungle that still doesn't have a name. This spider has a unique defensive ability that can make a prey that is much bigger than itself and put it in its webs to scare off the predators. This spider uses parts of its web, dirt collected in this parts of insects and its shed hair to make a spider prey sculpture that looks very real. This bait is scary for other forest insects. This is the only known species of spider that uses this method and is probably a new spider that has just been discovered. The island of Puglia. Italy probably reminds you of 2 things: travel, pizza. This wonderful and unique country is full of tourist attractions and the tourism reputation of some of its cities such as Rome. Venice and Florence is spread all over the world and many people dream of traveling to these cities. However, not all parts of this country are well known and people do not wish to travel to them. One of these cases is an island called Puglia, which is located south of Venice. This island has a dark and terrible history. You may be wondering why such a thing is being raised. In fact, the island of Puglia during the Middle Ages and the outbreak of the plague was the place of keeping and quarantining plague patients, and they were burned on this island. During the World War, it was known as Napoleon's gunpowder warehouse, and later it was one of the centers for keeping mental patients. It is interesting to know that this island is not very popular among Italians themselves. Because one of the Venetian legends believes that when an evil and impure person dies, his soul wakes up on the island of Puglia. Of course, these times have passed and now this island has become a tourist destination, but for lovers of black and horror tourism. Many photographers came here and took wonderful pictures. A large and magnificent castle in Romania. This castle, built in the 14th century, is known as one of the 7 wonders of Romania. This magnificent structure is located in our city Hunedoara between Timisoara and Brasov. Corvin Castle is known as one of the largest castles in Europe. This Renaissance Gothic castle was built on a rock above the Zelasti River. A large structure with tall towers, bastions, inner courtyard, various roofs and countless windows and balconies decorated with stone carvings. It also has a double-walled and reinforced wall formed by rectangular and circular towers. The Corvin Castle type of architecture is a wonderful style for Transylvanian architecture. Over the years, various changes in terms of beauty and military were made on this castle. In terms of beauty, the new Grand Palace is built facing the city. A 2-story building was for the living room and the large living space. For military purposes, 2 white towers and artillery were added. An external courtyard was also added, which was used for administration and storage. The current castle is the result of an extraordinary restoration work that has been completely completed after a catastrophic fire and years of neglect. Dracula and ancient legends in Romanian castles. This castle also has many legends and several scenes in different movies have been depicted in it. Tourists visiting this castle are told that it was the place where Vlad the Impaler, Prince of Wallachia, was captured by the Hungarian military leader John Hunyadi. Later, Vlad III entered into a political alliance with John Hunyadi. For this reason, Corvin Castle is sometimes cited as the inspiration for Dracula's castle in Bram Stoker's 1897 horror novel Dracula. In the courtyard of the castle, near the place of worship, there is a well with a depth of 30 meters according to legends. This well was dug by 3 Turkish prisoners. They were promised freedom if they reached the water. After 15 years they finished the well, but their captors did not keep their promise. This castle is one of the most visited tourist attractions in Romania. Many tourists from all over the world visit it every year. Tower. You must have heard the term black tourism. In this type of travel, a person is not looking for beauty and fun, rather, he wants to examine a more sensitive issue. In black tourism, people travel to a damaged area to share the pain and suffering of people who have lived in that place before and have suffered. This calamity that people have seen can be natural disasters such as earthquakes, floods, tsunamis, etc., or wars, terrorist attacks, murders, looting, countless deaths, and mass killings. Even visiting areas that stimulate tourists' sense of fear, excitement and curiosity for completely unnatural reasons is considered as a type of black tourism. We want to travel to one of the most popular places in black tourism, Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine and near the border of this country with Belarus. 32 years ago, a terrible nuclear accident occurred in this area, which caused pain and discomfort for years, and it is known as the world's largest civilian nuclear accident. On April 26, 1986, equivalent to May 6, 1365, an atomic explosion occurred at the Chernobyl power plant in Ukraine. Of course, there was no independent country called Ukraine in those years, and this incident took place in the sphere of power of the Soviet Union. The nuclear explosion and Chernobyl fire occurred after the tests of unprofessional nuclear reactor operators, and no war or dispute between countries was the reason for this bitter accident. When reactor number 4 of the power plant went out of control, an explosion occurred and even this incident damaged the operation of reactor number 3. Finally, radioactive materials were spread over a large part of Western Soviet Union and Europe, which caused many irreparable damages. In those years, the Soviet Union was involved in the Cold War with the United States. And it can be said that the Chernobyl incident was one of the significant reasons for the failure of the Soviet Union and its disintegration. It is said that the country spent about 18 billion rubles just to clean up the area and prevent a second explosion. All the towns and villages around Chernobyl were evacuated in less than 24 hours and have remained abandoned like ghost towns. Chernobyl is a very bitter story in the history book. Deaths and cancers caused by radiation, genetic mutations that resulted in the birth of many defective babies, all speak of the painfulness of the incident. And the last thing about which there is conflicting information is the Washan Forest in China. Washan Forest is one of the largest forests in China, located in Hunan province. This forest with an area of more than 12,000 square kilometers is located among mountains with a height of more than 2,000 meters despite its natural beauty. This forest is dangerous for tourists due to the existence of terrible creatures called yorns. Yoran is one of the terrible creatures that live in the forest of Havashan. This creature is shaped like a long and narrow tree branch and has large and sharp eyes that can easily see at night. Yorn has 2 arms and 2 legs and is human-like in shape, except that he is very tall and thin. This creature has very high strength and can easily cut tall trees and even hunt large animals such as wolves. Yoran also has a very high power in self-protection. This creature can easily defend against the attacks of its enemies and can even attack with its eyes. Many local people believe that Yoran has supernatural powers and can hunt humans by using magic and exorcism. Since Yoran lives in the Havashan forest, many tourists and hunters refuse to enter this forest. Due to its high powers and being a hunter, this creature is known as one of the terrifying creatures of the Havashan forest. Also, in Havashan forest, there are other creatures that are dangerous for tourists because of their terribleness. These creatures include big wolves, brown bears, and black leopards, which are very dangerous because they are predators. In general, Havashan forest, despite its natural beauty, is dangerous for tourists due to the presence of terrifying creatures such as Yoran. The best way to see this forest is with a local guide and by observing the necessary precautions.